if you happen to be donning the colour pink and you're sitting in that dugout or in the stands or wherever you are following MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live, you'll be scratching your heads and wondering, how did we lose yet another game? They're absolutely second from bottom are the Rajasthan Royals, and they'll be wondering with all the close games, including twice when somebody in their ranks scored a century, they ended up on the losing side. It's happened again. This time the Delhi Capitals getting over a run chase. They've put those blues aside and got the blue jerseys in front to climb to the top of the table. Let's try and see where things stand. But first and foremost, we must celebrate the MPL Super Couch on debut, Shaun Pollock.
I'm the king of the course.
The only thing you didn't get was you needed Rishabh Pant to do something typical Rishabh Pant-like, get out at the end, Morris to come and finish it off, but almost perfect, well done.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, I predicted last night that he's getting better at finishing the games and that we're going to see a more polished performance, so I'm glad to see him get over the line, but I did think Morris was going to be in to hit the final winning runs, but, I'll take it, a win's a win, this is as good as gold. Got my special seat.
Pure gold it is.
It's
gold.
It is
red
good
cricket
as gold.
Balls. red cricket balls.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, just having a look at that run chase, there were times you were saying, oh my God, what are they doing? Are they doing it? Aren't they doing it? Stiff target to chase. But you'll have to say, I think the biggest plus, not about the runs Rishabh Pant got, but about that, his application.
Look, I think it's the result that makes people believe that today he used it, because I don't think he played any differently than he's played ever before. He hit it, last penultimate ball of that 19th over. I was saying single, get to the other, and hits a six. And had that gone straight to a fielder, then we would have said, oh, he doesn't use it. This is what he plays with, and this is why probably people who like him or felt that he should be in that team is because he's got this ability to do what he's done today. There will be days that he'll hit it, it'll go up in the air, and he'll look stupid. But I prefer Rishabh Pant the way he plays, because if he's going to play like anybody else, hanging around, then you have many choices in this country. But there aren't many players who've got the ability and the skill that this man has. I'm happy with the way he plays. There will be days he'll be successful. There'll be days he won't be. Forget about him. There's a man we called Mahendra Singh Dhoni. See what happened last night. He hit 3 sixes, and all he had to do was touch that ball, but he couldn't touch it. So there will be days that things don't go right. Doesn't mean that he doesn't think cricket.
What do you tell somebody like Rishabh Pant? If he was in your team and you see that kind of raw talent, you just let it blossom, even if he at once or twice he falters in a run chase?
Yeah, he's going to make the odd mistake. I think you also look at it from two perspectives. One of them is he's actually a bit of a senior player for Delhi, so you want him to take responsibility and get them over the line. When he's playing for India, then there's plenty of guys batting around him where he can just play with that freedom. And you say to him, listen, you carry on hitting. People like Dhoni will be the calm one at the other end. So I think it's also the situation which team he's playing for. But he's learnt, and you're going to make mistakes in international cricket, in T20 cricket, in IPL cricket. It's whether you learn from those mistakes. And if you keep repeating them, that's when people will have a problem. If you make the mistake once or twice, you learn from it, you improve, and you don't make the same mistake again, then that's when you see that he's got a bit of a cricket brain and that he's starting to learn and fit into the role. So I think he'd be happy with that. Delhi, they needed 2 knocks from some individuals. When you're chasing a big score like that, 2 people have to come to the party. Shikhar did a brilliant job up front to set the tone, to get them a base to fight from, and then Rishabh Pant gave out that final punch.
Yeah, let's just confirm what happened exactly in the run chase. Yet again, a very decent total being put on the board after losing the toss. The Rajasthan Royals, 191 for 6. Remember, they got 198 for 2 against the Sunrisers Hyderabad the day that Sanju Samson got 100. Today he was out without facing a delivery. Rahane went on to make a brilliant 100, fist pump and all that. But again, at the end, 5 balls after getting to the 100, what could have been 210 ended up with 191 at the end. Maybe that was the difference. But a brilliant run chase, 78 not out from Rishabh Pant. 50 for Shikhar Dhawan. Prithvi was there almost till the end. And a couple of hidden knocks in there, one being from Shaun Rutherford. We were a little surprised to see neither of the South Africans coming out. But obviously they'd seen enough of Shaun Rutherford in the net and his reputation.
Yeah, I think it was the reputation, and he came out there, just swung the bat, got two big blows that took a little pressure away from Pant at that stage, and he was at the other end. And you had the experience of Ingram, probably. That's the way they thought. They had enough wickets in hand. They didn't want anybody to waste balls there. It was crucial knock there because at the end it looks easy with 4 balls, to spare. They've got there, but that was a good move in that sense. But if had it gone the other way, we would have been looking at.
Yeah, we've been thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? But they seem rattled when they get close to the game. I mean, with Prithvi as well. It started with that. When they need 10, 11 and over,
when they run a ball, they panic.
Then they start panicking. What to do now?
And it's often who holds their nerve, who panics last is the team that ends up on top. But when you're in a team or an RPL setup, we'll get a feeling for certain individuals. And Rutherford might be one of those guys. You go to the net session or go to a middle practice, and from the first delivery, often there's individuals who just strike it. And no matter whether it's the first ball they face or second ball, they just have this ability to whack. And that might be his forte. They might have seen it, and that's why they thought, we can't afford a guy just to nudge it around. Maybe one guy who can go and whack it and hit a boundary. And he did. That was the first ball or second ball that went.
I can tell you one thing. I was in the Caribbean last season and seeing him play for the Guyana Amazon Warriors. And on 3 different occasions, they somehow had a problem with the top order. And they would be 50 for 4, 60 for 5. And each time, Rutherford, along with Shimron Hetmeyer, would get them over the line. And they said the perfect combination was Shimron, who's this wildly talented cricketer, and Sherfane Rutherford, who doesn't think much. So they needed that combination to come, and sometimes you don't want someone to think too much. How much is that net run rate gone up to? Doesn't matter. Required rate.
Yeah, I think if you play simply, just back your instinct, you don't complicate things. And they're the ones who probably strike it much harder. Because when you start thinking, then you start analysing and things, and then it doesn't flow freely. You need players of all kinds in a side. When you pick a side, you have players who are going to hold the innings together. Then you need players like this who are crazy, who go in there and do things which a sensible player would not do. So you need some sensible players maybe, but for this team is ideal at this stage. It looks perfect. I still worry with this team. When it's a shorter game, low scoring games is when they're that's when they start playing. What's the word for
lack of flair?
No. When it's in your hand, the game.
Yeah.
What would be the word? Like when it's beyond your reach, it's easy to go out there and just try for it. But when you feel that it's in your hand and
the foregone conclusion,
and then you let it go. What's the word?
Line.
I'm forgetting. Okay, when I get
Flamingo.
No, that's Turner.
The order of the day, everything is flamingo when in doubt. But I just want to bring your attention to the Rajasthan Royals. We talked about it briefly. I've just got the list here on the Cricbuzz app. Against Punjab, it was the Munkering incident. Suddenly they lost their heads and they lost their way. Against Hyderabad, we talked about it, 198 for 2. They could not win that one. Against Chennai, they needed 25 of 12. They didn't finish that. Against Chennai, they failed to defend 18 when Stokes bowled that over. And against Punjab, 85 of 50 needed 8 wickets in hand, lose by 12. So they've been in almost every single game, but they've lost 6 out of these 7, including today.
Yeah, small margins, unfortunately, at this level. There's no one who's going to gift you victories, and you have to be able to pull that knockout punch when it's required and get over the line. And that's often why it's the experienced campaigners who we sometimes take for granted. I mean, Dhoni is an example of one of those who didn't get over the line last night, but he normally just pulls it off, and you think, oh, well, they should have won it. But to be able to should have won it, you still got to have the guy produce the goods, and it's an art. It's not something that you just learn overnight, and that's why the guys get paid the big bucks at that time of the innings, because that's where it can ebb and flow. It can be won or can be lost, and you have to hold your nerve and produce. So that's what they haven't managed to do, and it probably means they're out of the tournament.
What do you think they missed in the field? Because they had enough runs on the board, to be fair, 191.
Yeah. I mean, just to add to that list that you talked and today, maybe what's happened is that Ben Stokes is the man that you would associate with all those situations. One, that last over that you mentioned, things didn't go their way. When they're chasing, they expect him to come and do that. Even today, the total. So maybe it's just that one man that you were banking so much on. He didn't fire. On the other side, you look at Kolkata Knight Riders. Their man is always fired in that situation. So they have that many wins, and these guys don't have those wins. And that's what I mean by these teams, that each team is playing against each other. They're playing the total. They're just not carrying on playing. They're planning so much and hoping that every piece jigsaw puzzle is going to work. You've got to keep going with whoever's playing well in that particular season, that particular game, that particular situation, rather than say, this is your job and this is somebody else's job. It's the job of the team to finish that game, and that's probably the reason where Rajasthan is on that table.
You do also feel maybe that Ben Stokes is carrying a niggle. The fact that he hasn't bowled doesn't really make sense to me. That in the last two games, I think if he's got something wrong with him, he can bat, but he can't bowl. That makes sense. But the way he's charging around the field, but with all the experience he's got, you would think at that back end when you have to try and close the game. I know he didn't get it right against Chennai, but you would think he would at least bowl an over or two and use that experience.
Yeah, they had to turn to a 17-year-old who, remember, again, we talked about it on Cricbuzz Combox, the second youngest to take a maiden wicket in the IPL after Mujibur Rahman. That was young Riyan Parag. Of course, Shaun, as we mentioned then, it was the worst delivery he'll bowl in his life, but he picked up a wicket on the half-tracker.
It's probably been worse, and you claim them. As a bowler in T20, you claim them no matter how they come. But, I think when he was lying on his bed, when he was going to make his debut and he's thinking about what I could do, it would have been more of a delivery like drifted in, spun, beat the outside edge, stumped or caught or something. It wouldn't have been a drag down caught on the mid-wicket boundary that he would have been dreaming about and imagining, but he'll take it, and he'll have learned a lot from it, and it'll be a great experience for him.
Yep, but it was really the openers for the Delhi Capitals who set things up. And once you have a start like that with that sort of chase, and Shikhar Dhawan was unstoppable today. He didn't stay till the end, but 72 of 45, you've laid the foundation, you've then handed the reins over to Prithvi Shaw and the rest of them. So I think full credit to Shikhar Dhawan. We haven't spoken enough about him.
Absolutely, you put it right, and I think he's just been liberated once that team's been picked. The way he's striking, the way he's going after the bowlers in that first part has been totally different once that team was picked. First part of the tournament, he was he was trying to build innings, trying to get those runs, make sure that he gets into that side. But once that's happened, today he just took the game away. I mean, yes, it was Rishabh Pant at the end who finished it off, but it is Shikhar Dhawan who started it. And when you're chasing a big total, you need a good start. And when you start off like that and you're in a commanding position, which allows everybody else to play at their own pace, because they were always ahead of the game in that chase today, thanks to him.
Yeah, and you just look at the strike rate there of 254 of 27. You talk about the partnership up front. Shaw was 15 or 15, so he didn't do anything untoward. It was all Shikhar who set the tone. And Ajay's right, when you're chasing a big score of 190 plus, you need someone to get you off to a fast start. That takes all the pressure off, because then guys who come in the middle, they can maybe spend 2 or 3 balls knocking around, finding their feet. They don't want to come in when the asking rate's 12, 14. They've got to keep whacking. So that tone that he set was instrumental.
Yep, brilliant 100 from Ajinkya Rahane, wonderful innings from Shikhar Dhawan, but our unanimous vote for the MPL hero of the match is Rishabh Pant for that finishing touch. 78 of 36 balls at a phenomenal strike rate of just over 216, 6 fours and 4 maximums, and he was simply sizzling. It also means that if you are a winner on your MPL super team, and I can tell you that thanks to Rishabh Pant, my MPL super team came from 60 points behind all my rivals and has gone ahead. All of you, I'm sure, who had Rishabh Pant in your team, especially if you had him as captain, would have done really, really well. And I suspect that our winner today, our MPL super team hero, might just have had him in Kondam Vidyasagar with 328.5. That would have meant having Rahane in your team. It would have meant having Shikhar Dhawan and, of course, Rishabh Pant. So whenever you pick up those points, you pretty much expect all those to happen. So well done, and keep those coming in. We want all of you playing on the MPL app, which is, of course, on Google Play. Become a few days ago the #1 gaming app. Now let's get back to the game and look.
But hold on. If you win on this competition, do you become an Indian selector overnight? You must be the best person at picking.
Trust me, Shaun, there are already about 250 million selectors in this country.
Yeah, but there's only one that's winning, so you got to go with him. He must get his vote on the World Cup squad.
But the
We'll work
thing
on
with
that.
this is, I think you pick from both teams. So you pick both the teams.
Yeah, well, you got a hot eye for spotting proper talent on the day.
That's true.
Yeah.
There you go. There's something
Definitely
Shaun
knows
Pollock
more.
has spotted. Now, if you need an alternate profession, you know where you can possibly get to. But let's just remind you of the points table, because there has been a significant change, and that's happened right at the top. Who would have thought the Delhi Capitals have climbed over everyone to get to 14 points with a superior net run rate over the Chennai Super Kings, who will be in action tomorrow night. And the Rajasthan Royals remain firmly at the bottom, only ahead by a smidgen over the Royal Challengers Bangalore. So it's going to be interesting at the bottom to see if these two teams, or at least one of them, can possibly get maximum wins. That's 4 out of 4, which means they can get to 14 points. It could be enough, it may not be enough. For the Delhi Capitals now, is that temptation of the top two place already coming? Because it's important to have that second chance into the final.
Certainly, I think he spoke at when we started the show that it is so important to be in that top two, especially if you've played well. Why not? Because you could have one bad day in that eliminator game, or if the first two play, you get a second chance. You have an extra game, so you want to be in that, and you don't want to lose the winning habit. Especially at this stage of the tournament, you can have an off day, but if you can get rid of all the troubles that you had through the series, and this is the time that they can do it.
I think also the big plus is they beaten Rajasthan, and they face Rajasthan again
at home.
And Rajasthan will be missing 3 of their big gun players because they have to go home. So you walk into that match just feeling, it's like when you have a series, if it's India, South Africa, and we won the first 2, the third game you go into, you're feeling confident about your chances of winning because you feel like you've got the wood over them already. So they're in a really good situation now. Their net run rate is healthy, and I think they'll definitely be thinking about top 2.
Yeah, I was just saying they play their next game at home. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
Yeah, they don't like playing at home because these bats, and something with Rishabh Pant. Look at him when he goes out, when the ball's coming on, if he feels comfortable. What are wickets like in England? Ball comes on or slow and low.
Well, I think last time we played a World Cup there, I felt that they were over prepared.
Yeah.
When you play just against England, they maybe roll it for 5 hours. When it's a World Cup game, they roll it for 10 hours. So it's like becomes a flat batting paradise.
If you go by the scores we've had in the first few days of the season, especially in April, they've been scoring 350, 370 in 50 over games.
Yeah, there's a team that chased down 370, being 13 for 3. So
I think it was Yorkshire. Michael
Vaughan was mentioning that.
Yeah, he would have said it with extra gusto.
Yeah.
The Yorkshire boys from up north. Well, let's not turn to up north, because as far as this tournament is concerned, we're going down south. And a big rivalry that's coming up between the Chennai Super Kings and the Sunrisers Hyderabad, match number 41. This should be quite a cracker, because you've got the Chennai Super Kings, who might have been the kings at the top of the points table, but they faltered slightly, and they'll be thinking, well, we were taking top 2 for granted, not anymore.
Yeah, because and some worries as well with that team. Although I don't think they'd probably change too much. But yes, definitely worries. You've heard the coach, you've heard the captain talk about it. He's probably the most patient man, coach and the captain. 2 of them are probably the most patient people that you'll ever come across in the IPL. Maybe leaving the gentleman next to me around, because when he was with Mumbai, it's not easy to be patient there. So, but they'll probably stick to the same side. The worry is at the top of the order, whether it's Shane Watson, whether it's Suresh Raina, whether Kedar Jadav's also somebody who's not had a good season. But they're a team that's calm enough, and they probably just go about doing their business and say, listen, if you're not number 1, we can always be number 2. We still are in that top 2. So they'll be okay. They'll be calm, and they'll just stick to what they've been doing throughout.
Patient Pollock sits well with you?
Yeah, Patient Polly.
Patient Polly.
I can go with that.
Yeah, but one man we haven't talked about among all these stars is your South African, the man with the 100-yard celebration, Imran Tahir.
Yeah, he's been really good, hasn't he? And that wicket in Chennai really suits him down to a T. I think they've got their team sorted out. Harbhajan obviously comes in for a lot of those games. And I think that's the key to the RPL in many ways, is that if you're a side that's got a surface that's just slightly different to what everyone else faces on a daily basis, you do get a big advantage. And in Chennai, there's no doubt that wicket plays differently, and particularly this year, we've seen some dodgy surfaces there, where as an opposition team, you only experience it once in the whole RPL. It's difficult to adapt your game. I mean, I suppose the people who've got the best chance with their two spinners is Sunrisers. I mean, they've got the off spinner and the leg spinner who can definitely play a part. But it's still going to be challenging, even for their batsmen, their gun batsmen who've been performing well up front. If Chennai pick up 1 or 2 wickets, that middle order hasn't had much cricket, and it's going to be not much cricket on an average surface that they're going to have to work into. And guys who've been in good form haven't been able to adjust their games to that surface when they've got the opportunity. So I think it'll be a big task. I would probably have to pick Chennai for that game.
However, Chennai are not going to be hosting the final anymore. So it's whether or not that home advantage goes all the way till the end as the winning team, as the defending champions. They won't have that advantage come the final day, the 12th of May.
I think the batsman at the Chennai team would be happy with it. Maybe the captain's not that happy because the bowling resources that he has this year are more, his strength is all spin. Although Deepak Chahar has bowled, Chahar has bowled beautifully. He's swung the ball wherever he's got the opportunity. But except him, there isn't a seamer in that side that you see. You see Shardul Thakur there, but he bangs it in. So if they play on a wicket where you have an opportunity to swing the ball, that's the only place that they don't have anybody even in the wings to turn to. So except for the captain, I think both the batsmen at the top, Faf and Watson would prefer a wicket that comes on or it's got more bounce. Rainer's probably one who probably feels, why aren't we playing in Chennai? The ball would be low and slow. I have a better chance in there. But as a unit, they just make up for each other. And so nothing much to worry about Chennai. They will go about doing their business. All these years, the 12 years of IPL, if you look at their side, they've won many years. They've won 3 or 4 times. They've got into the finals. But every year it's just been same. They lose 4 games in the knockout before they get to the knockout stage. Sometimes it's right at the top, sometimes it's right at the bottom, but they never get rattled. They've lost finals, they haven't changed anything next year. They won finals, they've not changed anything. They've just gone about playing the game the same way. And I think as long as Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is in that team, this is how Chennai will play. They won't bother about conditions and stuff.
Of course, they weren't there for 2 years, but we won't talk about
that. That is a different era.
It's still the incentive, though, to finish in the top 2 for them, isn't it? Because I think that first eliminator's in Chennai.
It is.
Yeah, so there's where they've got the hometown advantage. Once you're in the final, you've won it, you've been there so many times, they'd just be able to produce their best cricket. I wouldn't think that would worry them too much, but that eliminator game is important for them.
Last look at Johnny Bairstow as well. One last hurrah from him.
Yeah, I mean, I actually was flabbergasted. I looked at his stats today and how well he's performed. I can't believe he hasn't been in the RPL at all. I thought he was part of a team last year or the year before. But the ginger has really come good at the top of the order. Always good to see a ginger performing well. And he's just been phenomenal for them. And, he continued on his merry way yesterday's game or the day before. And he'll be looking to just finish off with a bit of a flourish when he gets to Chennai. He might have to adapt his game to the conditions that he's going to experience there. But I think he'll still be backing himself.
Yeah, I was just waving my arms all over the place because I was just trying to think in my mind, if you want to think of any possible changes, we've talked about all of them, do you advocate any major changes in any of these teams?
Nabi didn't play the last game, did he?
No, because that's the problem they've had with the
Williamson
balance. Because of Williamson, Bairstow and Warner right at the top.
Yeah.
There's a reminder.
Are we playing in Chennai or Hyderabad tomorrow?
In Chennai.
In Chennai.
In Chennai.
Yeah, I suppose you can't get him in. They might be tempted somehow.
Yeah, how do you get him in? Only ways you got to leave the captain
out. Yeah, it was the captain. That was where I was.
I think they're just waiting for these guys to leave.
Well, what do? You leave a seamer out and bring in another spinner? Would you do that? And that you probably see one change there with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Khalil, and Sandeep Sharma. You might leave him one of them out and bring in a spinner if you're playing in Chennai. I thought we were playing in Hyderabad. I was thinking all along. So that's the one change that I feel that could happen with that side. Otherwise, they'll stick to that.
Yep, let's have a look at the Chennai team as well and see if we can see anything there, because we know with Harbhajan Singh, he's been the one who's been coming in and out depending on where they play. Now back in Chennai, maybe he joins that little spin trio of Jadeja, Tahir and himself. So that could be one possibility, Shaun, for you?
Yeah, I think that we'll go that option. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, they generally leave Shardul out there, or one of the batsmen. But don't be surprised, they've had enough time to prepare another wicket. With Chennai, when we played, or even last couple of years, if it's prepared differently, it could be a nice batting wicket as well. So suddenly we might see a different track. We haven't been to Chennai for a week now, so they've had enough time to prepare a better wicket, maybe a little more moisture, more rolling, and it's hard and flat. And again, we go back to those 180, 200 run games.
The last time around when we had the 70 all out to start with, they'd put a big tent up and everyone was all huddled there trying to figure out what went wrong with the square. So maybe they've put another tent up and tried to add a few more runs.
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning. Oh, you need air conditioning there. Oh, boy. By the way, Shaun, I must apologize. We were talking on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live at the start, and I said 91 when you played in the Afro-Asia Cup. It was actually 100 that you got there.
Yeah, I was a bit confused. Yeah, it was a lucky day for me. Every even a blind squirrel will come across a nut at some stage.
He's just being modest.
Just being modest.
He's just being modest. As a pure batsman, as he reminded us, he's played on 3 occasions. He's got a 30, a 50 and a 100. That's not bad for someone who's been considered a bowling all-rounder for much of his life. But let's look at our joy factor question for today. It was a long question. 2 centuries and a crucial 93 in the finals to help his team win the Ranji Trophy in the 1990s. He made his Test debut before playing a single Ranji Trophy game and his ODI debut with 2 others on the same tour. Who are we talking about? And the answer is Vivek Razdan. Yes, indeed. Of course, Salil Ankola and a certain gentleman by the name of Sachin Tendulkar also made his debut over there. We never hear the last of it from Vivek Razdan if you get him started on that particular conversation, do you?
You can't blame him.
But so you're saying did he play a test match before he had played any Ranji Trophy?
Yeah, he'd played 1 first-class game. He'd played an Irani Trophy game, which is the winner of last year's Ranji Trophy versus the rest of India.
And he got man of the match, must have.
No, I don't remember anything like that. But he came in at a time where the team was evolving or changing, and he came straight from MRF and went to Pakistan, played his first game, got 5 wickets in an innings, and he's only not the first test, one of those test matches that
and
he played.
was Sachin's roommate.
And was he? Okay, maybe that's why he didn't play again.
But so David Warner did something. Didn't Warner also do that? He only played 1 day.
He came through 2020 and 1 day.
Yeah. He was playing village cricket in New South Wales. And he came straight in. In all this excitement, we haven't actually awarded the win to someone. So let's find out the winner of our Joy Factor. Dhananjay Mahajan at the rate Dhananjay_281. I wonder if that 281 has got anything to do with a very, very special knock from the Eden Gardens. It could be, you never know. We've got lots of cricket fans out there who have hashtags to do with cricketing landmarks. Well done there. And that was a cracker from Joy Bhattacharya. Lots more to come, gentlemen. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Chennai versus Hyderabad. It should be another crawl to the top. Delhi won't be on top for long if Chennai go on to win that game. Thank you to Shaun Pollock, to Ajay Jadeja. We'll see you all once again on MPL Presents Cricbuzz Live.